Good morning, St. Paul. This is your friendly neighbor, Un-Bougie Foodie, Wesley Wright. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Always looking forward to the wonderful Saturdays that we have, and gosh, it doesn't disappoint. I hate to even think about the fact that, summer is quickly fading, but we got to make the best of it while we're here, while we're have the opportunity to really get out and enjoy new places, new foods, farmers markets, just so many different stuff. This is going to be today's topic, and I would encourage everyone to actually, have an opinion, call in, share your ideas or thoughts on it. But it's going to be a little scientific today, but still fun. Don't worry, it won't be it won't be boring, trust me. But it will be a little bit scientific, and it's talking all about food though. And I have to admit, not I would say a learned science person when it comes to food. I was not familiar with the word. Of course, I think folks are out there are metaphysical or astrophysics, or just the whole study of science, the physics portion of the science, or studying the science of certain celestial bodies, psychological. There's even one for food, and it's called Gastrophysics. So that's really going to be our topic for today. I will be definitely mentioning a few other things as well, but more specifically, I was excited about this, and I want to share it with you all. A little bit of education for me, and then help you also, or not even help, but just share with you some of the information that I found, because I just thought it was quite interesting, and hope you find it interesting as well. First and foremost, though, I want to remind everybody all the listeners out there, that WEQY is actually going to be hosting their third annual 7th Street Live. So if you've not gone before, definitely make sure to come out. It's going to be on August 26th, and it's going to be from 12 to 6 p.m. Family friendly festivities, if you would. So could be certain that there's going to be a lot of food, music, artistry. Oh gosh. And they have a lineup too on the website. So please visit WEQY on Facebook, and you'll be able to see the actual flyer that talks more in detail about 7th Street Live. Again, it's going to be on August 26th from noon to 6 p.m. right here in the east side of St. Paul. Oh, wow. Wow. There was some. So right here in East St. Paul, the address is going to be 895 7th Street, again, St. Paul, 55106. Gosh, such a great lineup too. But it's going to include fun, just like I mentioned, food, fun, a family event. One that you really don't have to worry about, being, too concerned about, the atmosphere. In years past, or in events past, it's always been fun, trust me. And I'm looking forward to an opportunity of volunteering, and hopefully meeting a few of listeners to the radio station, as well as to the Un-Bougie Foodie show. So thank you. Make sure you save the date. I know we're near the end of the month, and just a reminder: August 26th, 7th Street Live. Just keep that written down, or post it somewhere, like on your refrigerator. Make it your background for your computer. Also, I will say that I am so really thrilled. I'm tickled again, because I've been given this opportunity to talk and share with you all these different weeks about food and restaurants and food topics and having guests on the show. It's been a true pleasure doing this and sharing this passion and this interest. So thank you all for being listeners and sticking with me for almost an entire year. I mean, literally, one more week, it will be 52 episodes and that I have done for here at the radio station, or just being on air. I consider it a milestone, and I really do thank WEQI for the opportunity. But for listeners as yourselves, I really would like to share that and celebrate with you in that regard. So at the end of the month of August 27th specifically, I will be at the Minnesota State Fair. Now, the Minnesota State Fair, they have specifically set aside that date for Minnesota Cooks Day. So for that, you'll have an opportunity to see some celebrity chefs, food influencers from Instagram that are in the cities, chefs from just different restaurants or doing demonstrations. But it really is a perfect opportunity to get out and enjoy a day with you all, my listeners that listen to the Un-Bougie Foodie on a weekly basis, ones that support and appreciate the information I'm sharing. So August 27th, that is going to be for myself, my event that I'm preparing. It is called the Foodies at the Fair. I was going to say the Un-Bougie Foodie presents the Foodies at the Fair, but you know who I am already. But Foodies at the Fair, where we're just going to have an opportunity to go to a few vendors, taste some of these new foods. You know that there's 31 of them that are going to be available or are being created specifically for the Minnesota Get Together. Or Sweat Together, whichever you want to call it. That doesn't sound very right when you're talking about food stuff. But so anyway, the Minnesota Get Together. We'll put it at that. Minnesota Get Together. But Foodies at the Fair on August 27th. That will be a day at the Minnesota State Fair. So again, there's going to be more information and details that I'll be telling you about prior to that date, way prior. Look for some more information and details and invitation within probably the next week or so. I will definitely make a Facebook post so that you have that available. But I really am just looking forward to an opportunity to celebrate what I consider as a milestone. And I hope that you're willing to come out as well. All that said, again, thanks so much for tuning in this morning. I hope you're having that cup of coffee, or maybe just, getting up and doing a few things around the home, but listening to my show. So thank you. Like I mentioned, we're going to get a little scientific because I really did not think, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say I didn't think about the different aesthetics when it comes to how restaurants set up, do a presentation or create an atmosphere. I always think about that, but because I like to talk about more of the food itself and the experience with the food, I kind of leave out the atmospheric and aesthetics of a restaurant or of a place. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that if it's very unhealthy or doesn't look quite nice in there, that I'm, gonna talk about it or not talk about it, or even go there. But I'm just saying that, I think, as I've mentioned in the past, going to all of that extemporaneousness of talking about the atmosphere, the curtains and tablecloths and so forth, it was going to make me sound a little bit bougie. And I'm not. Relatives in Los Angeles, if you're listening, you're probably wondering, why is he saying that? Because I am not, and they know that. But in my own right, when it comes to food and enjoying good food, I guess you want to say that's where I'm bougie, maybe. I don't know. Because, no. I'm not even in that regard. But I'm mentioning all of this because there is a book that has been Gastrophysics has caught my attention. And there was a book that was specifically, brought to my attention, or I'll say caught my attention or anything, because I was reading an article and it made reference to this publication. It's called Gastrophysics, The New Science of Eating. And then the author is, Charles Spence. He's a psychology professor, at Oxford, University of Oxford. Anyway, he has written a book geared and focused on gastrophysics. And you're probably wondering, okay, well, what is gastrophysics? How does it relate to the Un-Bougie Foodie and everything? Okay, well, first off, gastronomy, which is where the root word of gastrophysics is coming from, is the practice or art of cooking or choosing a particular food or cooking and eating good food. Now, as you know, that's what this show is about. I've never really used the term of gastronomy and so forth, in our conversations. But I felt it was important to even, one, to help with, providing maybe a description of what that is, or a definition. But then, physics, the study of some of the physical properties and phenomenon of something. And in this case, honestly, we know food evokes a certain type of, it invokes a certain type of feeling and certain types of foods. And this book, oh my goodness, this, the article itself was just mentioning, and I asked the question, did you ever think about perhaps, why, maybe the shape of chocolate would appear sweeter when it's a certain shape or not, or maybe why a certain tablecloth or maybe table setting or silverware is being used in a restaurant. That is what really this book is about, and how it relates to food and enjoying a really great experience. It goes into a lot of detail. Specifically, it says that gastrophysics is the study of the relationship between food and culture, the art of preparing and serving rich or delicate and enticing food, and then a style of cooking of a particular region, and the science of good eating. I know that's a whole lot to take in, but just think of it as gastrophysics really is understanding how people are actually feeling when they are enjoying a meal out, whether it be at a restaurant, at home, with friends, wherever. And it doesn't have to be, a really elaborate meal. I mean, this is on a day-to-day, eating a fruit, preparing, maybe a salad or something. Again, it goes into so much detail about how our senses are then engaged. And when you're picking up a peach or you're picking up an apple, and all of a sudden you're those touching the apple or touching the fruit or whatever it is, your brain is already anticipating how that is going to taste. And then taking the time to actually smell either a dish or the fruit that you're holding, or whatever it is that you're preparing prior to actually taking a bite of it. All of those start to engage all of our senses: touch, smell, sight, taste. And this book just goes further into detail. One of the topics that it mentions within the book is the surroundings at a restaurant. And like I said, I never really talk about this on air, but it's helping me understand why you can have such a great experience, because gastrophysics is a part of establishing a restaurant or setting up the aesthetics of a restaurant. The restaurateur, or perhaps has a consultant or maybe somebody that they discuss how they want the aesthetic or the feel and the flow of their restaurant to be. But then it turns around of what type of food are you serving? What type of food are you preparing? What type of feeling do you want to evoke from persons that are your patrons, your customers, people that are coming in and enjoying a great meal? And that's where, again, gastrophysics comes into play, because knowing, not even talking about the changing the recipes or modifying the recipes, it really is asking what type of feeling, what are you feeling when you have this food? And I'm quite sure that you probably ask yourself, or maybe not, are probably wondering, gosh, why does having strawberries covered with chocolate, dipped in chocolate, dark chocolate or milk chocolate, whichever, why does it make me feel a certain type of way? Why does, eating a good lasagna or maybe a steak evoke such a strong feeling of your flavor palettes are just going crazy, or your brain, I think at that moment your brain is like in overload because of all the sensory overload that it's getting from both the taste and the aroma, the flavor, just everything. And it's almost like you go into this state of ease and relaxation. And yeah, it's very deep, but it's so much fun to talk about. I was talking to a friend at work, and we were I was excited about the topic today, and I mentioned it, and she was just saying, I never really thought about that. It's like, I realized that when I'm eating a peach, I cut it open, it's like there's this excitement that comes over me because I'm already feeling that the texture of the outside of the peach itself, it's nice and soft and fuzzy, but something on the inside is just sweet and juicy and flavorful. And I could have it with so many other different things, and it gives my mind something to think about even before taking a bite of that fruit. And that could be a steak, it could be having some vegetables, or cucumbers. How does, when you're preparing something, on your cutting board, maybe chopping up bell peppers. I know for myself, when I'm chopping up bell peppers, I find myself just kind of like sitting there. I'm like, okay, I need to stop, because this bell pepper I'm eating it. But this bell pepper is for this dish that I'm trying to do. But it's just, I'm excited about that, cutting up that vegetable and working it with my hands and chopping it and so on. Um, it's really interesting, and I never thought about it before to until recently. Um, Decorating your surroundings. I touched on that very briefly, but going back to it, you know, a good example is when you go into maybe an Italian restaurant, or maybe a French restaurant, whatever type of restaurant you go. I'll even say, a neighborhood restaurant. What are you actually going to see, or you possibly would see? Maybe pictures of what some of the dishes of the food. You might even see a painting, or a picture of maybe that culture. It could be, whether it be African American, Hmong, Asian, whatever. When you go into that restaurant, it is already setting it's already feeding into those sensory oh man, that's for words. Those sensory gosh, how to describe it? Just feel, sight, the senses, just overall senses, and sight is the very first one. Well, likewise, I mean, those are all, again, studies and parts of food, and what type of feeling do you want to obtain from your customer. Remember I mentioned about chocolate? Well, some time ago, Cadbury, they had some complaints because they had changed the shape of used to have a dairy milk bar. It went from rectangles, to, I think they were round or something. And that was back in 2013. So not that long ago. But because of they made that change, people were complaining that it was too sweet. Yeah, I mean, that overly. And the thing about it is that they had not altered the recipe at all. It was just the fact that customers have this idea or perception that when it is presented in a round shape, and a good example of that is candies, chocolate shavings on a latte, certain type of jellies. Specifically, they talked about beetroot jelly. They are much more sweeter than when they are in an angular or rectangular shape. And that's just really interesting. I don't know if anybody else has thought about that, but feel free to give us a call and share your thoughts on that, because I'm quite sure that there's so many people out there, so many listeners that are probably feeling, well, that is so true. Why is that? I never really thought about that. Another thing, did you ever realize, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I love a good hot chocolate. I'm quite sure that there's others that feel that way as well. I instinctively, I don't go to Starbucks that often, or go to a coffee place that often. But when I do, the very first thing that I do after I get my drink or my morning beverage, I take off the lid and I smell it. Just instinctively. I don't know why that is. Now I understand why. Because you really need to smell that. Taste is smell is so much an involved process when it comes to having food or enjoying something like a coffee, or maybe hot chocolate in my case. Your brain is already forming those expectations of what you're about to enjoy. And I mentioned about smell. You could also say the aroma going into a coffee shop, the aroma, and smelling maybe fresh baked goods, or even, again, just the coffee itself, the coffee beans, smelling the freshly ground coffee beans. Yeah, all of that. That specific sense the smell. Uh, the book goes into mentioning that sniffing your food or sniffing aromas of food, or in this case, a drink, it allows the brain to form the rich flavor expectations concerning both the experience of what you're about to have and what we are expected to enjoy. And, interesting, there are two different types of nasal processes or smells, if you would. One is called the orthonasal. Orthonasal. I'm not going way out there, but basically it's when we are actually breathing in to sniff an actual aroma from the environment. Kind of like when you're out and, you walk out from it's been raining and you go outside and you just take this long breath inhaling, the aroma of, and aroma is more so with food, but you smell, fresh rain or freshly cut grass. Well, like with food, the aroma, that's just one part of that, because taking that aroma in with food, again, allows that brain to basically says, get ready. We are about to enjoy something really, really good. And then there's a second part, which is retronasal. That one, and you probably don't even know and probably don't realize it, not know, but when we are swallowing like a cup, so we've taken a taste of your coffee or hot chocolate or even a food. When you swallow, you actually, it's more of a push of air or aroma that goes back towards through your nasal area. And that's why some folks are saying, oh, I could kind of like taste that in the back of my throat. Yeah, because, one is the taste, but then there is that air that is being forced back into the nasal passages or whatever. Again, that provides more of a tasting experience. So it's a perception of the aroma. So I know, again, I said we were going to go a little bit kind of like science and everything, and I'm not going to go too much more into it, but it's just really exciting to find out and understand what is it about, maybe why a particular plate is being used at a restaurant, or even why, this type of silverware that's being placed on the table that you're about to partake of food at. Going back to the hot chocolate, did you know that hot chocolate tastes much better, significantly much better, when it's served in an orange plastic cup or just in a brownish or tannish type of cup? I know that sounds so weird. I don't know if anybody else has felt that way, but if you do, give me a call and let me know what your thoughts are. And being that we're talking about it right now, I mean, gosh, it's going to give you an entirely different perspective when you're going out to a restaurant and just realizing, because I'm bringing it up, I know. I brought it up. Now people are going to be like, oh, see, now you have me going to the restaurant and thinking, why did they use this type of silverware? Well, it's heavier because they want you to eat a little bit more. And then they know that you're going to enjoy it a whole lot more. When you have a weightier silverware, you are able to enjoy your food a whole lot more. You're able to, it enhances your experience. Same thing with the color of a plate. I mean, gosh, we've heard the expression of blue plate special. At that time, it kind of, back in the early, like, I think 1920s, 1930s, 40s, maybe in 50s, and even now. It takes on a different meaning or understanding. But back then, early on, it meant that using a colored plate, you would actually be able to eat less. It gave people the perception of eating less, whereas on a white plate, it gave them back then the perception of eating more. That's reversed now. Now, it is, when you are eating from off of the contrasting colors of plates, what would seem more appealing, like something dark on a dark plate, that's not really going to be very appealing. Something like a good steak on a white plate, or that's contrasting to that specific flatware, not flatware, just the plate. Something that's contrasting the food allows you to enjoy the experience much more and to eat more of it. Again, Gastrophysics, The New Science of Eating by Charles Spence. If you're interested in it, definitely. I would love to hear your opinions on it. So feel free to drop me a line at the Un-Bougie Foodie at gmail.com, and we could have a serious conversation about this. I'm still reading this publication, but as far as I've gotten, I'm in. Or if you just want to kind of make a comment on today's show, feel free to visit my page, again, the Un-Bougie Foodie. You could also find pictures and photos of where I have been eating, visiting, and so on. By going to my Instagram, which is _Un-Bougie Foodie, or Twitter. Every now and then, yes, I do. Again, I don't rant or anything. It is just I will share a point, or maybe retweet or a recipe, or add something of my own. You could find me at Un-Bougie Foodie. Definitely, questions are definitely it's engaging for you. I want us to talk. I want us to have a conversation. I don't know if you all, I may have actually even mentioned this probably some time ago. There is a ramen place called Ichiddo Ramen. It is located at 2710 Nicollet Avenue. Wonderful place. Oh my gosh. And I went there with friends. It's kind of for work, but I'm always thinking of how I'm going to share my latest food adventure with you all. So I try to keep in mind where to go. And so I went there and enjoyed a few things, one or two appetizers and a main entree, if you would. This is Asian or ramen style or cuisine. Ramen is getting it's been big, but it's growing even more. So if you've not been to places like Zenbox, you need to go. But Ichiddo Ramen, I had a great experience there. The food was really good. One of the appetizers that I had calamari, which I mention it not in a bad way, but it's just, you're going someplace, okay, calamari, anyone can really have calamari. Yes, that's true. But they have, and I feel so bad, because I believe it's pronounced the charsiu bun. CHARSIU bun. And it's so good. If you've not had kind of like those, it's more of an Asian type of it's a bun basically with meat on the inside. This was not, and not, yeah, meat on the inside. This was really a bun. You know what? I forgot what they referred to it as, but it was a bun, but it had a wonderful sauce on the bun, plus it had roasted pork, and then it had a nice layer of green lettuce folded over and then branded with the restaurant's logo. If you're interested in finding out perhaps what it looks like, certainly visit Minneapolis.ichiddo.com and go to the appetizers, or just go to their webpage and you'll be able to see it. But that bun was really good. So good. And then there is, it's called a donburi. The same kind of like roasted pork, chashu, donburi. Delicious flavor, roasted pork with, I believe that it was, what is it, shredded, it was either kale or seaweed that was on top kind of as a garnish, but it was with, white sticky rice with shallots or green onions, and then the roasted pork. There's a special sauce, and I've forgotten the name of the sauce. I thought I wrote it down. But it was just so delicious, and the dollar amount was quite good, quite nice as well. Just to let you know. But again, they are. It's a wonderful place. So if you've not gone, again, it's authentic Japanese ramen noodle restaurant that's in the Twin Cities. They are open 7 days a week. Go to their, please go to their webpage, which is minneapolis.ichiddo.com, and find out more information about them. You could look at the menu. You could definitely check out that bun that I was talking about. But once again, they are located at 2710 Nicollet Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55408. They're open today. You could go. You have a really great open today at 11:30. Yeah, so why not make it over there? You could certainly go over there. We are, last week I didn't have an opportunity to share with you all any of Get Your Groupon. So let's do that right now. I want to share just one or two. St. Paul has a Bagelry, if you would. You can get 40% off bagels and sandwiches. That's in the Como Park area. And if you go to Groupon, they have different options that are available. The one specifically for St. Paul, you could get, for $11, you could get $20 worth of food. That's really quite good. Really quite good. Keep in mind that for St. Paul Bagelry, they are located. They are located at 1702 Lexington Avenue. That's in St. Paul. Minneapolis has one as well. It's in Tangletown, 5426 Nicollet Avenue. But, here in Como, we are nearby. So, you can certainly go there and get breakfast. Hey, take some down to your, save it for your family. Take some tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Monday. You can definitely go down there Monday and order a few. But just imagine, you can get $20 worth of Bagelry goodness They offer bagels, coffee, breakfast, half a dozen. Get 6 dozen bagels in whatever combination that you like. No, 6 dozen. Sorry, half a dozen. Hello. Get 6 bagels in whatever combination that you like. So, you could definitely go there. They have so many different bagel flavors. Plain, and the very popular ones. Plain, poppy, pumpernickel, Asiago cheese, cinnamon raisin. The everything bagel. Wow. Jalapeno cheese. Just, if you're interested, certainly go to Groupon and look for St. Paul Bagelry. And then for information on the different types of bagels that are available, stpaulbagelry.com. And just check out the bagels that they have available. They also, again, have sandwiches and beverages. So, hey, certainly feel free to grab that. Go get your Groupon. Sorry, that was kind of out there. The next that I would encourage you to do, man, I tell you, I love being in our neighborhood, and I may have mentioned this one on Go, but La Cabana. La Cabana is in the Dayton's Bluff community area. It's Mexican food. Y'all know that I have an affinity, aside from pork in itself, but that's carnitas. Yeah. My next, there are probably 3 things. It's Mexican, Japanese, and of course I can't leave my culture out. Belizean, Jamaican, Trinidad. All of they're all involved. But for Mexican, La Cubana, you could get, for $15, you could get $30 worth of food. And again, like I mentioned, it's right here in the Dayton's Bluff area. They are located at 863 East 7th Street on that St. Paul 55106. So it's right around the corner, y'all. Anybody want to stop there and then bring me something? No. But Dayton's Bluff, again, you have, it's authentic Mexican food. The restaurant is really clean. Service is also really great. They've got really great reviews. But if you're interested in visiting their website, which, I don't see it at the moment, but don't pass up on the Groupon. Again, $15 for $30 worth of food. They have something called super nachos, soaked with cheese and buried beneath a mountain of toppings for $6.99. Come on, go in there and whet your appetite with a burrito. Or maybe some tacos. Which I'm curious, does anybody like fish tacos? Because they have them there at La Cabana. So go get your Groupon. Get your Groupon. That could be another subject right there. Why is it I found that some folks within Minneapolis, or maybe it's just Minnesota, maybe they don't tend to like fish tacos. I don't know why that is. I mean, gosh, to have maybe that citrus squeezed over the fish, whether it could be deep fried or it could be broiled or grilled. Fish tacos any type of way with just some lime squeezed over it and some pico de gallo, maybe a radish slice or 2. Man, see, now I'm getting hungry. I'm getting really hungry. Yeah, come back to us, Un-Bougie. Come back to us. Lately, I've been finding that, more and more of, I'll say, friends are, they're either choosing to go either vegan, which I totally understand. I have not watched What the Health, but I will. I will, because I would love and enjoy the conversation that we would have about the food industry. This show is not, again, always about just eating out. I mean, it could be eating at home, but just the food that we ingest all together. I am really interested in finding out what this, I'll say documentary, there we are, documentary is about. And I have an idea already. And as visceral as some of either the comments have been, or some not so bad, maybe I'm overstating that, but let's just say that they felt very strongly about it, to the point where after seeing that documentary, they have said, no, I'm becoming a vegan. I'm just, or a vegetarian. That's all I'm going to have. I remember that, a few episodes back, I talked about living a plant-based lifestyle and the pros of it. There are certainly some cons. I don't think it would certainly outweigh the pros. That's for certain. I think, though, that there would, and again, I have to state this, of course, I'm not a nutritionist, but there would have to still also be some other, maybe some supplements that you may have to add to your intake, because true enough, yeah, there are vegetables that can provide you with, just from A to Z, the different vitamins and nutrients necessary to survive. But also, will it be enough? Will it be sufficient? Now, mind you, I'm not advocating either way, because however you choose to make a decision on the type of foods that you ingest, definitely it's on you as an individual, and no one should actually feel that they have their opinion. Your opinion should remain your opinion. It shouldn't be forced on anyone else, and you shouldn't make anyone feel bad about a choice that they've made. If anything, I would be more interested in having, again, someone on the show that would be willing to talk more about living a plant-based lifestyle, and maybe even having someone that does not or is not currently living that lifestyle, but is interested in finding out, and just have a full-on discussion. So again, that's something that I would, again, like to throw out there, if you would. I know I have a number of friends that are in the food, that love to cook, and I'm meeting new ones that are, and even reading cookbooks too, that are talking specifically about eating more plants, vegetation, vegetables in your life, rather than just being the carnivore, eating meat all the time. It's possible. People can live, their lives sometimes without having any type of meat or animal-based proteins that they ingest, because they're very concerned about how how the animals are treated, how the meats are being processed, supposedly being processed for human consumption. I'm not. It would be foolish of me to just simply say I'm going to do it anyway or whatever, without doing your research and finding out specifically, how does this affect me, or make your own choice. Let that be a decision that you personally make, and never let anybody. It's almost like I'm about to say, what I say at the end of every show, but don't let anybody tell you, really what type of foodie to be. because it's you. You are the person. You're trying to take care of your health, and if you make that choice, um, sure. If anything, if they'll probably look at you and seeing either the difference or the changes that you've made, outward appearance, how you feel, your energy level, and so on and so forth. All of that will be very noticeable. So, everyone do your research. Make sure that if you're going to check out, which I will, What the Health, feel free to leave me a comment, because I'd like to know your thoughts on that as well. I will just say that I do enjoy all different types of foods, and I think I might miss out because there's so many different varieties and different options that are available. I am concerned about my health as well, and things that I ingest. So that's not to say that I'm, by saying what I've said, does not mean that, hey, I don't think I could ever be a vegan or vegetarian, because again, keep in mind that there are levels of that as well. There's being a full-on vegan or vegetarian, or where you're cutting out every type of meat or protein or dairy product, anything that would come from an animal, in that case. So, that varies in itself. But I just note that I enjoy the different varieties of food that we have out there. And if it means, sometimes paying to see how something is prepared might help. I don't know. Maybe that's that again, another topic or another subject that someone, maybe I'd like to find someone that's a meat preparer, I'll say, and have a discussion with them and see what they think about this whole process as well. And because I'm quite sure that meat preparers or butchers, I'm just going to use the word butchers, they're most likely concerned about it as well. Where is this meat coming from? Where is that chicken coming from? That lamb, that whatever, that that pig, that hog, wherever. They want to also find out and make sure that they're providing food that is good and is going to be pleasing to their patrons or customers. Anyway, not going off too much on a tangent on our rant, but I'm interested in seeing this documentary. So hopefully, if anybody else is interested and would like to leave me a comment or a message, please make sure you do so on my Facebook page, or again, send me an email at theunbougie@gmail.com. I will make sure to answer and we'll have a conversation. My goodness, the time has truly taken its way with us, hasn't it? And I see that, it's coming up to the top of the hour. So I want to say again, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I am here every Saturday at 10 a.m. It's so much fun having conversations or just sharing information about new places or just places that I've gone to. Maybe it might be someplace new for you or not. Again, feel free to always call in and share maybe a suggestion from your standpoint as well. Thank you very much again for tuning in to WEQY and listening to the Un-Bougie Foodie. Until next time, as I end every show, I want to remind you never to let anyone tell you what type of foodie to be, because really, it is all about the food. Take care.